Good afternoon everybody, welcome back to another matchday preview today. Bit of a smile on my face. Obviously Christmas is around the corner now, which is always great. Got a fantastic time of year. Would be better if Fulham can actually get some positive results, and be much better if we can actually start to push up the table. It's looking likely that we are going to be bottom of the table come Christmas Day, which isn't great obviously, but there's plenty of opportunity over the next week or so to really get ourselves out of it. We've got 3 big games coming up in the space of 7 days, obviously starting with Newcastle, then Boxing Day at home to Wolves, and then the following Saturday home to Huddersfield. So there's plenty of opportunity over this busy period to really start to turn our fortunes around. Before we get into this preview, a quick recap on last Saturday's defeat against West Ham. Tying up a few loose ends. I mean, defensively in that first half we were poor, weren't we? I mean, we started quite well. If Kamara took that chance early on in the first half, then I believe, like many people said, it might have been a different game. It probably would have been a different game. Obviously, we didn't. West Ham had 2 chances and basically 2 shots on target all game and 2 goals. Clinical, wasn't it? It's the type of thing that happens when you come up into the Premier League. You face teams, you don't take your chances, you get punished for it. And we've learnt that already so far this season. It's been the story of our season. We learnt it quite early on towards the start of the season, but particularly in that game against Palace and also Tottenham as well. So disappointing not to get 3 points last week. I mean, the second half performance wasn't great. It was a bit stale, really. I think we'd really accepted that we were probably going to lose the game, which wasn't good enough. And I want to see us hopefully show a bit more fight going into this huge game on Saturday tomorrow, because it is a big game and we basically need to get 3 points. I don't think the point's good enough. Obviously, teams like Southampton, they play Huddersfield, but we can't look to worry about what other teams are doing. Our fates, our destiny's still in our own hands in terms of trying to stay up. So we've just got to focus on ourselves and basically get as many points as we can between now and May. So moving into this, talking of opposition focus before we actually move into the Fulham side of things. Newcastle sit at 14th at the moment. They've played 17, won 4, drawn 4 and lost 9 with a goal difference of -8. And those points have given them, them wins actually, giving them a point of return of 16, which actually isn't too bad considering after 17 games. The last 3 games have been Everton away. They drew 1-1 there. It was one of the midweek fixtures. Wolves at home, Super Sunday a couple of weeks ago. They lost 2-1. And they also obviously beat Huddersfield away at the John Smiths 1-0 thanks to that Rondon goal. Salomon Rondon himself, speaking of the main man, is Newcastle's top goal scorer with 4 goals this season. Involved in a straight swap loan deal, which saw Dwight Gale go to West Brom and Rondon go the other way on loan. Both of them on season-long loan deals, and both of them could be made permanently should West Brom go up and should Newcastle stay up, really. I think Rondon's been a pivotal player for Newcastle. I've got a couple of stats that are quite good that involve him, but he's been one of their main focal points in the team. Obviously, Mitrovic has left Newcastle, as we all know, and he didn't really seem to fit Rafa Benitez's style of play. And it's quite surprising to see them going for that similar type of striker in Rondon, because Mitrovic and Rondon are the similar, basically carbon copy strikers. Big physical presence in the box, big target men. And I'm surprised to see that he's actually really flourished under Benitez. You wouldn't have thought someone like Rondon would work in a Benitez system, but he has. And it's the way it goes. Obviously, most assists go to Matt Ritchie with 2, and the most aerial duels won throughout the season at Newcastle has been Rondon with 50, which is actually really good for him, which suggests that they're going to play a bit more direct, going to get plenty of balls into the box, which means with us playing centre-half, I pray it's not Odoi, because he'll get absolutely put on toast by Rondon in the air. Although he has got quite a good leap for a small man, so we've just got to see who we play. But however, as I said, there'll be plenty of balls coming out wide, getting into the box with players like Matt Ritchie and Kennedy, especially Matt Ritchie with a wand of a left peg. If you have to swing one in right on the sweet spot, you'd put your money on Rondon to beat our 2 centre-halves in the air and nod it in. Going to head-to-head record now, Newcastle have got 9 total wins against us, 6 at home and 3 away, whereas we've won 12 times against Newcastle with 9 of those wins at home and only 3 away as well. And between both sides, there have only been 3 draws in all of our league meetings, where I think we've met 24 times, I think, in Championship and Premier League and all competitions effectively. So moving into the stats breakdown of the preview, Newcastle's last league win versus Fulham, you have to go all the way back to the 31st of August 2013 in a 1-0 win at home. Obviously we did the double over them in 16-17 when they came to the Championship. We beat them 1-0 at home, and I think we beat them 3-1 away, I think it was. Sessegnon really announced himself as a fantastic talent that day, scored a goal, Kearney scored an absolute screamer, and Tim Ream missed a penalty right at the end, didn't he? He put a penalty wide. I don't quite get why he took that penalty that day. I really thought it would have been someone else, but he stepped up and really ballooned it wide, didn't he? It wasn't a great penalty, but it was a good result nonetheless, and it also led to our fantastic rise in form, which saw us reach the playoff semi-final and get knocked out by Reading, obviously. But Moving into the actual stats breakdown now properly, Newcastle manager Rafa Benitez is yet to lose a home Premier League match against Fulham, with 4 wins and 3 draws, with his teams keeping a clean sheet in each of the last 5 Premier League meetings against Fulham. Obviously it didn't happen in the Championship because we scored a couple of goals against them, but in the Premier League he's yet to lose a game against Fulham at home, keeping clean sheets as I said, so it's going to be very, very difficult for us to go there, knowing that Benitez is quite good at setting teams up in the Premier League against us. And in the last 5 meetings, as I said, keeping clean sheets has been a positive for Newcastle. Although scoring goals at home hasn't been great for Newcastle this season, so that could be a thing we could look to pick up on. But every team who we play against is always going to get a chance for our poor defensive record. Salomon Rondon has been involved in 5 of Newcastle's last 7 Premier League goals, with 4 goals and 1 assist, including goals in each of their last 3 home league matches, or involved in each of the last 3 home games where there have been goals for Newcastle. So he's a main man at home. Obviously he scored last week, as I said, against Huddersfield, but he's the main man for me. I think we've got to really be careful of. He's in some good form at the moment himself, and obviously Ayoze Perez as well, who I'm a big fan of. I think he's a good player. But as I said, Rondon's the main man up front. He's the big bully who tends to win a lot of flick-ons and wins a lot of knockdowns for some of the players to run onto. And a lot of Newcastle's attacking play does go through him. Just like Mitrovic with us, similar type of players really. And I think these two could be the big deciding factors in who gets the 3 points or whoever gets the positive result really. You've got to look at the way both of them play. Both similar type of players, aren't they? They're aggressive, they're in your face, they're nasty players to play against, and they really, on their day, when they play to their strengths, they're basically unplayable players, and it's going to be difficult for both sides to defend against 2 powerhouse strikers. And it's going to be a very good game for the neutral, I think. Moving into our little stat now, Mitrovic has scored 4 in the last 5 Premier League matches that Fulham have avoided defeat in this season, with all of Mitrovic's 7 goals contributing 7 points this season, which suggests that his goals have been absolutely pivotal to us winning games and getting positive results this season. As the stat said, his 7 goals have equalled basically a goal. Every goal he's scored has been a 0.1 for us, which is huge. We need him to try and get back into the goals again. He hasn't scored for a couple of games now. I think the last time he knocked one was against Southampton when he got a brace. So we need him to get back into the goals sooner rather than later. There had been talk of him becoming unsettled. There had been paper talk of him suggesting that he was unsettled at Fulham. But I don't want to look too much into that. I do believe that when you're at a football club and things ain't going your way really, and you're struggling for form, the team are struggling for form really, it just happens sometimes. It happens with all good strikers. They go for a small spell, a sticky spell, a goal drought, and all it takes really for us, I think, this season or in the next couple of games, if we can try and get a goal, it doesn't matter how it goes, not off of a kneecap, an own goal, anything. I think at the moment the goals are drying up at the moment, considering to when we were at the start of the season where we were scoring for fun and couldn't defend. It now seems that we're struggling to score goals, and as I said, if one goes, any type of goal will take, and if it's the same for Mitrovic, if he gets one off any part of his body and it to go in, except the hand, obviously, then I'm sure we'll see an upturn in form, and I'm sure he'll get back to his happy self again. Obviously, he's happy playing for us. Obviously, at Newcastle, things didn't go his way, which happens at football clubs, obviously. And for me, as I said, if he gets it'd be nice for him to score on his return against Newcastle, and hopefully see him in the goals as soon as possible. Obviously, going back to Fulham, we've won our last 3 matches against Newcastle, but we've not won 4 matches in a row against Newcastle since all the way back in October 1982. It suggests that if we were to get a win on Saturday, we could break a little record there, which is good, and it's nice to hopefully potentially see us break a record for positive reasons and not break it for negative reasons, as we've seen so many times with Fulham over the past couple of years, where we've broken so many negative records against opposition, and it'd be nice for us to go up there, get a result and see what happens. My score prediction, however, will be a 1-1 draw. I think it will be a cagey affair. Obviously, Newcastle at home, they have to play a bit more open. On the road, they usually play with a back 3 or a back 5, usually is how they go with, especially against Everton when they went with a 5 back and got a draw. And I think they went with a back 3 against Huddersfield off the top of my head, and they won that game. But at home, they're expected to play a bit more open and a bit more expansive, as you probably would expect to see from a home team. The home fans want to be entertained, and they want to be entertained with good football. And I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to sit in deep, I think. We're going to sit in tight and maybe look to use our pace on the counter-attack, which I think Ranieri might look to try and do. Hopefully he sticks with a consistent back 4. A lot, see maybe if we are going to play with Odoi, maybe put him back at centre-half with Mawson, put Christie at right-back with Joe Bryant at left-back, keep that consistent back 4 there as well. And just see what happens. Obviously, Newcastle, speaking of good players, Martin Dubravka as well, forgot to mention him. He's a superb goalkeeper. Many Newcastle fans think he's the best goalkeeper outside of the top 6. In my opinion, that's up for debate. In my opinion, I think there's plenty of good goalkeepers outside of the top 6. Whether or not he's the best, I'm not too sure. That's really, I'm not too sure about that, but he's definitely a talented goalkeeper, and he's definitely been one of Newcastle's key men this season, and even last season, keeping them up as well. I think they finished 10th last season, so it suggests that under Benitez, if they get some investment and Mike Ashley will sell the football club, there's so much potential for that club to do well. They're almost the equivalent of a sleeping giant, really. A big, massive club like Newcastle should be doing better than what they probably are at the moment, but it's all up to Mike Ashley. He don't want to get the checkbook out and invest in players, which is up to him. But there had been talk of him selling the football club, and I think if he does, as I said, then Newcastle will flourish with a bit of investment. If we get a point, it wouldn't be too bad. It'd give us then 2 massive home games against Wolves and Huddersfield to try and turn our fortunes around, because I want to hopefully approach the January transfer window in as much confidence as we can, because we need to try and get our main targets. We don't want to be going into the window at the bottom of the table, because when you go to when you're going to a window, particularly when you're bottom of the league, your main targets sometimes don't want to come to the club, and they sometimes question why they'd want to go there. But, you know, any player who comes to us will be looking at it thinking they're coming to us to improve us. They're not coming to sit on the bench, they're coming to play, and they're going to be better than what we've got. And we've just got to see what happens. As I said, the 1-1 draw, we'll take it from there if it is a point. At least, hopefully, we don't get beat. I hope we show a bit more fight than we did in the last away game, which was against Manchester United. And to see what happens, a lot of games come up, as I said. Stick with us. The Wolves preview will be out on Christmas Eve. I'll put it out. Match review for Newcastle out tomorrow after the game. And yes, the Wolves preview out Christmas Eve. Then we'll have a little bit of a break. Match day video, Boxing Day as well. Then go again Friday, this time next week, with the Huddersfield preview, and also the following Saturday, the Huddersfield video as well. So if you did enjoy this, guys, hit the thumbs up, comment in the comment section below your score predictions and your thoughts. As always, I like to hear from all of everyone's opinions. And as I said, yeah, comment, like, subscribe, and we'll see you all very soon. Take care.